See, I'm against a liberalism that's become aggressive toward religion and it wants to exclude it from the public space.
Hello everyone, I'm Joseph Dinesh, a Catholic commentator from Sydney, Australia. In today's video, we will be analysing the heated debate between political commentator Dave Rubin and our very own Bishop Baron. The discussion centres on whether the Catholic Church should have a voice in shaping government policies based on moral and natural law. Dave Rubin argues that the Church should stay completely out of influencing the state, citing the principle of separation of church and state. Meanwhile, Bishop Baron presents a compelling case for why it's crucial for Christianity and its representatives to have a voice in the public arena. So to find out who is right, let's start by watching this clip.
Where how much influence actually should, if we come from a Judeo-Christian foundation here in America, which I think even people that don't like that we do would agree that we do, how much room should there be for the church or the temple or the mosque or whatever else to actually influence policy? Because I know my secular belief would be, I would say, virtually none, especially if these organizations want to remain tax exempt. So for example, when the Mormon Church was putting so much money into fighting gay marriage, to me they're taking a political position very publicly, using money to do it, and at the same time claiming for tax exemption. That's something that I cannot reconcile, and I've never heard a good argument against that. But for you, how much do you feel the church can be involved while also at the same time getting tax exempt status, which is pretty sweet?
Yeah, the tax exempt question, I'm not sure I'm ready to talk about that. But generally speaking, I would say the church, again, not imposing but proposing within the public space, can and should be a voice. And not aggressively so, not using the arm of the state, we don't have that. But arguing, making a case publicly. In some ways my model would be, take Lincoln's second inaugural, take King's speech in 1963. Both were people using religious arguments, but in a public sphere. They weren't sermons, but they were deeply biblical. And they were coming up out of a moral tradition that was biblical in form. And they used that to make a case for political change. I think that should be allowed. See, I'm against a liberalism that's become aggressive toward religion and it wants to exclude it from the public space. I have no quarrel with liberalism in its classical form. I'm opposed to an aggressive secularism that doesn't want religion to be a voice in the public forum. I think it can and should be, and I'll take King and Lincoln as my examples. The tax exemption thing, I haven't thought enough about the tax exemption thing to really press it with you, but I'd want us to be a voice. I don't think that's asking too much.
Yeah.
Our arguments don't have to be couched in explicitly kind of rationalistic terms. Lincoln wasn't making a purely rationalistic argument. He was relying on the Bible and appealing to people that knew the Bible well. And I think that should be okay in the public space. King was too, making a public argument for a political change, but he was relying on people's deep knowledge of the moral teaching of the Bible to do so. And I hope that's always possible in the American space. And I worry a little bit that an aggressive liberalism is going to exclude that.
Now, some of you might be wondering, what exactly is this principle of separation of church and state? It's a political and legal doctrine that advocates for the independence of government institutions from religious authorities, ensuring that the two operate in separate spheres. The principle is based on the idea that government should not favor or establish any religion, and religious bodies should not wield political power or directly influence government decisions. Although the Catholic Church accepts the principle of separation of church and state, it does not advocate for a strict, absolute separation as some secular perspectives do. Instead, it supports a distinction between the two realms, acknowledging that they have different roles and responsibilities. The church's mission is spiritual, focused on salvation, morality, and guidance of the conscience, while the state's mission is temporal, concerned with maintaining order, justice, and the common good. Having said that, the church also teaches that moral truth and natural law should inform public policies, especially in areas like human dignity, life, justice, and the common good. Therefore, it is legitimate for the church to speak out on social and political issues, especially when they touch on moral questions. This does not mean the church controls the state, but it has the right to guide consciences and contribute to the moral framework within which laws are made. The Second Vatican Council clarified the church's position, stating that while the church does not seek political power, it defends the freedom of religion and conscience. It supports the idea that people should be free from coercion in religious matters while encouraging the state to respect and protect religious freedom. Now let's use an analogy to explain the church's role in informing public policy while not controlling the state. Think of the church as a compass and the state as the ship's captain. The church provides moral guidance like a compass that points towards true north. It helps society navigate moral questions, offering a sense of direction based on natural law, human dignity, and justice. The compass does not control the ship, but it offers a reference for the captain to steer in the right direction. The government is like ship's captain, responsible for making decisions about how to steer and manage the ship. The captain has the ultimate authority over the ship, but relying on the compass helps ensure the ship stays on course toward the common good. The captain isn't forced to follow the compass, but ignoring it can lead to shipwreck. Finally, I would like to end with this quote by Pope Francis. He says, "The church and the political community in their own fields are autonomous and independent. Yet both, though under different titles, are devoted to the personal and social vocation of the same human beings." I hope this video was helpful. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. God bless you.